Hello everybody, how are we all doing? So I found this speed build in my files from ages and ages ago, back when I used to have a Sims 3 build channel. That reminded me of how much I like doing speed builds because I love building in The Sims, and I also love just sitting down and talking shit rather than having to like somewhat structure what I talk about. But it gave me an idea. I'm very close to unlocking channel memberships. Basically, what that is, my audience, so you, will have the option, it is optional, I'm not going to force you to do it, unlike how I'm going to force you to comment on this video. You must comment, doesn't matter what you comment, but comment something. An optional way to help the channel, I suppose, by giving me money, essentially. That's all it is. However, I think it'll be a really good way to incorporate speed builds into my channel. What I love most about speed builds is not the build itself, although that is quite cool, but more the ability to sit down and just talk shit. I would like to hear your opinions on me potentially having exclusive member-only content that is just speed builds, and I will take suggestions for speed builds, obviously. And in those speed builds, I can give updates on my life, I can talk, I can play games, I suppose, if any of you want that. If you have any ideas as to what you would like to see in these sort of member-only speed builds, then do leave them in the comments. Even if you don't, you still have to leave a comment, otherwise I will find you and give you a UTI somehow. Not sure how I do that, but it would be done. So leave a comment if you don't want one, I guess. Stone cottages are literally my favourite thing to build ever in The Sims. I think they're so pretty. Although I have a gripe with cottages. I have lived in my fair few cottages in my life. They always have issues, their problems, and my parents have this vendetta against new builds. And I can see why, because a lot of new builds are rushed and there has been a lot of problems. One thing I cannot stand about a stone cottage is how susceptible it is to damp. I understand you can just put the preventative measures in place so it doesn't get damp. Damp and mold, it just icks me out. I feel unclean living in the environment, which I don't think is a very irrational fear, because if you live in a place with mold and damp, you will be breathing it in and you will get ill. So although I am on antibiotics, which I guess are just mold, although not just mold, obviously, but I have had tonsillitis and it hasn't really impacted me that much because I didn't have it that bad and I caught it quite early and I just went straight to the doctors and they gave me antibiotics and it's cleared up. Yeah, fun little life update. I've had tonsillitis. It was an absolute bitch the night before I went to the doctors because it literally woke me up with how much pain I was in, and I was kind of just rolling around like, because I couldn't really do anything about it. Been having a lot of honey and lemon drinks, having loads of cough sweets. I actually like cough sweets, like cough sweets and boiled sweets. I would eat them even if I didn't have a sore throat because they're tasty, especially like cherry ones. That gets me into another point, just because I remembered having a licorice flavored cough sweet before. I'm not a huge fan of licorice, but what I hate even more is licorice or aniseed flavored alcohol. Absolutely disgusting. Get it out of my sight, especially if it's like a shot of something. I'd much rather take a shot of like something that doesn't have flavor than something that has a bad flavor. And also, if you're going to add a flavor to alcohol, why would you make it aniseed? I don't understand the thought process. I don't understand why you'd want that. I don't understand why you'd want to drink that. I hope you enjoyed this silly little voiceover and speed build. Let me know what you thought to the build as well, by the way. I don't build in The Sims 3 much anymore, but I'd like to start doing it again. Maybe your mandatory comment that you have to leave, you must, what game you want me to do speed builds in. Whether you want The Sims 4, Sims 3, both, I am at your disposal. Tell me what you want me to do and I will do it. Thank you very much and good night.